officer, of some, tech company down the street if he's working the graveyard. He's over at the, American Airlines Arena sweeping up the floor, after the Heat game. So, like, how are they pulling off these cars?
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I don't know if you caught this, but I felt really bad for Slapjack because Michael Ealy, when Brian comes in, he's like, let's lift it to 3,500. And Sookie's like, that's fine. Orange Julius is like, that's cool. But Michael Ealy can't pay rent, and he's going to lose all that money. And I guess I liked that this one at least showed that, like, it made it seem less glamorous because, like, this guy can't pay his rent now. So at least it has that angle, right? There's people who can't make it. Like, it makes it a little more human, a little bit more true, I guess.
You have to think those races, it rung a little true to me that when you look at those cars, now street culture, I don't, I'm not living in that world anytime soon or have
anymore,
right. However, it rang true in the sense that you look at the money that's in these cars and the way they dress, it makes sense that these races are, $1,000, $2,000, $3,500. It made sense to me. It rang true, and it raised the stakes of the race. That said, the raising of the bridge was, while obviously great from a cinematic point of view, it was a real
I'd be so pissed off.
They're all like slapping five with Tej afterwards, like, he's Yoda. Like, dude, no.
Remember when Vince came out and just started fist fighting Brian in the first one? I'd get out of my car and just go after Tej. Like that.
Well, can you imagine Vince in this movie?
Oh.
Do you think Vince would be tolerating half the nonsense going on?
Yeah, he'd be a nightmare in this. Oh, I gotta tell you though, man, I love the dynamic between Roman and Brian more than I like Brian and Dom. Because Dom's just like, you gotta treat your kids good and family. But then his baby mama Elise, I think her name's Elise, gets murdered in the 8th one, and he's like, oh, whatever. Like, I don't know, but you know what I like?
They really stretch. Dom really has a lot of hypocrisy in it's family of the moment kind of.
Yes, exactly.
But Brian, that scene, the other thing I love about this movie is if you're from South Florida, and I know your
Florida.
wife is, you've lived down there. When you see like scenes from the movie and you see the background and you know that there is zero relationship to where they actually are. I love this scene where they're like talking about screwing over the FBI, right there at the end, and they kind of have a personal moment. Then the next scene is they're in the middle of the Florida Keys.
Yeah.
It's like they're about 100 miles away, but that shot is so amazing. They make it seem like it's like, down the street. And but it's that great, powerful scene where Roman finally takes responsibility for himself and his actions, and Brian explains a little bit. And to me, that was very real and touching for a fun, light movie that maybe Brian and Dom don't have. These guys grew up together, and you could feel it a little.
And I love the evolution of their relationship. So when they first meet, I love their first fight. He's like, you still fight like shit, bro. And they're on the ground just fighting, and that one guy's eating popcorn, just watching them brawl.
When Brian goes, hey, whatever happens, just let it go. Like, Brian knew right away that this was about to happen.
Oh, that was so great. Oh, I love that scene. And I like when they're on the ground, Brian just throws sand at Roman. He's like, shut up. Like, and then later on, when they do the race together, when they do the tryout, that's when they start kind of working together and having fun again. They're flicking each other off. Brian's going in reverse. They actually start using a little teamwork. But then they get to Carter Verone's house, and they're sitting at a table with Monica, and they're like, shut up. You shut up. You shut up. You shut up. And then Monica's like, both of you shut up. And then, like you said, they do a little bit more work together. They had the race, and then at the end, they bond in front of the Keys. Singleton directed it where he's like, yeah, these are two like alpha guys. They're not going to be looking each other in the eyes. So they didn't look each other in the eyes until the very end. They kind of express their emotions. And at the end, they're a team. They're brothers again. Like, pockets ain't empty, cuz. Like, like, we're going to spend the rest of our lives hanging out in my, like, it didn't really work out like that. But I love that. Like, it's a good, like, Singleton knew what he was doing with their relationship, and he directed it really well. There's an arc.
Somebody that's not into cars. What I loved about this movie was it brought me, I thought, into the world in a more fun way than the first one, into this world of cars and drag racing. Now, I know the first one was not as light. It tried to recreate on some levels. Just there's no 4-mile Grand Prix lap in downtown Miami for that opening drag race where there's 0 cars anywhere. So you suspend your belief a little bit in 2, where 1 is 100 yards. You know, they try to capture maybe a more realistic version of it. But I really felt like that car culture really was captured in 2 and 3. Now, I know that they had the big road to car show out in the desert in the first one, and then they revisit it later, and I think in 4 or 5. But I don't know, that opening sequence with the bright lights, and then Tej's garage looks like something built at Disney World. You know, it was just big and colorful. It had the neon Tej's garage, and the lifts were like bright neon yellow, and, you know, it brought, I feel like, a non-racing car person. It invited them into the movie to enjoy it, where the first one really was delved towards teenagers and car culture. They really tried to capture that. This really, I thought, opened up the audience for adults, and my wife was kind of more interested in too. Like, oh, this is kind of silly and fun. And I thought John Singleton did a good job broadening the audience.
No, absolutely. And it's just, I love the adherence to the diverse cast. Like, I'm telling you, this movie feels so refreshing, and it feels refreshing in a couple ways. It just, I love just, you're watching Paul Walker and Tyrese have fun on screen. And we were talking about A Knight's Tale the other day. And what I like about A Knight's Tale is there's really, like, when Heath Ledger's character becomes famous, he doesn't become a big jerk and leave his friend. The biggest issues in A Knight's Tale are, he has a brief argument with Shannon Sossman, and then they make up. And then at the end, he's in the stocks for about 2 minutes, and then he's out. And that's what makes it such a good, watchable film. And like we said about Too Fast, Too Furious, there's such low stakes, and I think it makes it the most watchable. The first Fast and the Furious, you betrayed me, and then the third one, actually I can watch that a lot. The fourth one, you have like Letty's death, and then the fifth one's really watchable. But like when you get later on, just you have people dying, you have double crosses, and so not only did he make it more Singleton, I just think he made it more inclusive, and he just made it very watchable. I don't know.
Yeah, but we talk about Customs Agent Murtaugh in this podcast.
Yeah,
that sequence with Roman when at the boathouse or the boat storage where Cole Hauser sends him, which I love, is he doesn't even give him an address. I love that scene where, okay, my Ferrari has been impounded at a boat lot, or, you know, a boat storage place. Go.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have an address at least? You know, these guys just take off like they know where it is. But they get there, and then that sequence where Murtaugh pulls up and he pulls out, and then Roman just starts unloading.
Yes, I love it.
He just starts firing at this customs agent, and the way it's handled, like 5 minutes later, is, you're a jerk. Yeah, you're a jerk. Settle down. Like, okay, like we just opened fire with deadly force, and this was resolved in 2 seconds.
It's amazing, isn't it? I love it. Like, well, you almost blew our cover. We had to do this. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got to tell you something real quick. You reminded me. I love that scene where Brian says, yeah, it's 3 exits after the bridge. Remember that. And Roman's like, okay. And remember when we had to know directions?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I didn't have a cell phone, right, until I was 18. And so in high school, 21. I didn't have a cell phone until I was 21. So I didn't have any GPS. I had crappy cars. So people would be like, okay, so you go up to High Road, you take a left, and then you take a right at Johnson, and then you take a left at Carter Verone. Okay, cool, I got it. And it made me, right. I don't know, it made me reminiscent of that when we used to, I didn't even have printouts from MapQuest. I just sort of.
Well, you didn't because they were always wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know if that brought back memories to you where take the third exit. Oh, okay. Now it's like you have a GPS. Where are we at? What does it say? I don't know. It just brought back fun memories for me in regards to,
I didn't think of that. But I think what I thought of was just a corollary of that was why aren't they using their GPS? And then it dawns on you when the movie was made.
Yeah.
So, and what was that device? Like, we've never seen it before, and we've never seen it since. This cop device that that shuts down all the electronic equipment in the car. This is like a pretty badass device that these cops have, and we've never seen it since.
Actually, Singleton made it up for this movie. He just was like, I need to stop Brian, and I don't want him getting cornered. We need to find a different way to catch him. So he invented that. But in 6, it comes back, and Brian remembers it, and Brian does that sweet move where he knocks it off. So they make a callback to 2 where Brian's like, I've seen this before. Thunk, knocks it off. But Roman flips. Roman's car goes flying because of that. But Brian does like something in reverse and wails it off. So that's why 6 and 2 are my favorites, I think, because of that thing. But yeah, sorry to, you said it didn't come back. I wasn't trying to correct you, but I thought it was a fun comment.
No, I'm glad you said that. I forgot that in 6 and when they're in the mountains, that's where it did come back. That's a great point.
Hey, so if you're going to get an engine, are you going to get a Gallows 24 or a Gallows 48?
It's like Brian is in, and he gets arrested. Yeah, and he's just like, I don't know, Brian. I've never heard of him. I don't know who he's talking about. And then Bilkins comes in, and then next scene, Brian's calling all the shots. Oh, you want me to do this? Oh, this is your partner, and he totally calls him out. The guy knows Jack. Well, we're going to get this. And then who does he pick? A 3-time, like a guy who's been in prison for 3 years, whatever. And they're like, okay. Okay. They completely they give him everything he wants. And I love in movies how your record can be completely erased. It's just like, we'll just make it all go away. Boom, done. You do this for us. Gone. Okay.
They get Steve Buscemi's character from Con Air. If you help us out, if you help us take out Carter Verone, we'll clear your record. Like, oh, okay.
Sure, why not? Sounds good to me. There's like zero paperwork, no lawyers in the room.
Oh, man.
And I love how Roman is in Barstow, and Brian goes, he's acting all, A-list, kind of alpha male. Brian goes, why are you acting like you're not going to take this deal? In the next scene, they're in Miami, right? So they've now gone from Barstow, California. Now they're all the way back in Miami. And right when Roman gets to the door is when he decides to have second thoughts.
Yeah, I don't trust this, man.
I don't trust this. Like, really? You've been traveling for 2 days? Like, right when you're like 10 yards from the door, you're having problems with this.
Oh, I love it. And also, how great is this introduction? He's a demolition derby driver. And that's more cars being used. And I think that explains his character. Remember his fight in Fast and Furious 6, where it's him and Han against the henchman who beats the living daylights out of him? Yeah. Roman's just a brawler. That
establishing the shot in Barstow is so awesome, where you see the mountain ranges in middle eastern California, and it's just, you see Barstow, and just that desert. I love that it reminded me a little bit of Tokyo Drift, those establishing shots, the neon of downtown Tokyo, and there were some great downtown shots of Miami too, like lit up and everything. So, but that Barstow scene I think is underrated, especially with Bilkins kind of as the kind of the whole scene.
Just eating popcorn.
Yeah. Oh, what about the scene when they show up and Bilkins has got like a Tommy Bahama shirt on? He's like, nice shirt, my day off.
Yeah. So John Singleton had the casting director get the ugliest shirts possible for him on that to give him that. So they found this terrible yellow shirt and they just put him on him as a joke. Oh, that makes me so happy. One
of the things that you have changed my life on in following movies is Henchmen. And where Miguel and Enrique, where do they stand in the Henchmen Hall of Fame?
Oh, they're okay. You know what? Top 5. Because
really?
this is why. I like, they're not, I like, you're a good driver, man.